Hi, everybody. I think I'm actually live. I have no way to know. This is great. I'm here all by myself, trying not to cough. So let's see what's going on out there in all the Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch lands. So if you're out there, drop me a comment so that I actually know that I'm not just talking to myself, which I may be. Who knows? It's crazy here. So I hope everybody is having a wonderful post Dragon Con. I have. I am getting over con crud that I did not catch from con, but I caught from my husband. So I am got a little tickle, so I may have to take a lot of drinks. So I apologize for that. But guess what? Charles ditched me. It's true. He did. He ditched me. He's off in Vegas doing EMS things that I don't understand. But there he is, having a great time and doing good work, but not good work with us. So, yeah, I just checked on Facebook, so I know I'm live. So, if you're out there, oh, Scott, you know you're always welcome. Let me drop Scott some links to come in. Hi, Valencia. Hi, Dallas. Nice to see you guys. We're going to have a bunch of people popping in and out tonight, just having a good time learning more about what happened this Dragon Con. So give me just a second to drop a link to Scott real fast. Scott, who is no longer a volunteer. Like, what am I supposed to do with that? There he is. Groove is for life. Here you go. Dropping you a link. That's not the link you need. Hang on. I'm a hot mess. I'm a hot mess when Charles is here. And guess what we've just discovered? I'm a hot mess when he's not here, too. So I'm trying to run there. Now I've dropped him a link. So all is good. Valencia, I've seen you on here before. Sarah Rose, always great to have you. I'm so glad you had such a wonderful Dragon Con. Sarah Rose is the craziness behind the theater group at Dragon Con. Oh, because I'm always going to blame Charles. Let's just be honest. Because he's probably never going to see this. So, Charles, hi, this is all your fault. But glad to have everybody here. We had an amazing Dragon Con. I know Kaz knows, I can't remember the exact numbers, but we had so many people. Oh, Valencia, it was nice to meet you in person. I'm a blonde with artificial intelligence known as Pink. But we had like an extraordinary number. We had packed out rooms. I think we had more people than we've had before previously, continually, like overall. And it was just a great success. We ran two live podcasts from a gentleman whose name just left, Anson Mount, with The Well. We had about 2,800 guests, not including the big rooms, which was be his. And I got to go hear him interview Danny Trejo, and it was absolutely positively one of my highlights of my Dragon Con. It was amazing. Danny Trejo was great. Yes, Dragon Con is always a lot. And I'm going to bring on former volunteer, Scott Moore. How's it feel not to be a Dragon Con volunteer?
Well, once again, I've got to come in and save Charles's behind. So I guess my volunteering hasn't quite ended just
Hasn't
yet.
quite ended. Have you put together your microphone yet?
No, I have not. I haven't had a chance to.
We gave him a microphone, but it comes with self-assembly. It is hilarious. And Charles thought, well, wait till he can hear me again.
Yeah, I still have it. They gave me this tin can microphone kit. So I'm sure that's gonna sound amazing.
Well, I just want you to know Charles thought of that all on his own.
I'm sure he did.
I thought it was fun, but
it was great. I do appreciate it. It was nice. It was nice because we talk about it now, like and I said going in, like I didn't want to like make it about me this year. Like I told people as I went just so they knew, but I didn't want to be like, oh, it's like I'm not dying. I'm just I'm just not volunteering anymore. So I didn't want to. I'm going to be an attendee rather than a volunteer. So, but that was nice. That was sweet.
Yes, no, it was great. And we know this was your last year. So how would you sum up our track this year? What did you think about it?
There's a lot of new faces this year.
We're going to have some of them on later.
Yeah.
and maybe sooner.
So that's always an interesting time because new people need to kind of we have a certain way of doing things that may be different from other tracks. And some people have to adjust to that, you know, and there's expectations and everything like that. Um, there were no big problems that I heard about or
No.
that I saw.
Knocking
Um,
on some wood right now.
I'm sure there's some things here. There's always going to be some little things here and there, but we didn't have any major issues that I could tell. And everybody that came in did really well. Had a lot more panels on, I think, not so much mental health, but like
Connect.
autism and
Yeah.
ADHD and that sort of thing, which I think is great. You know, because there are a lot of people in the creative space with those,
I'd probably say our track is filled with them,
right?
self included.
So we definitely had we had some more theater people on with some live plays, which was cool. And then like definitely felt like we had a lot more um educators, I think, probably.
Yeah. I mean, exactly.
So
We had post con. We had so many people join our Discord server, and so many of them are educators, which makes my little educator heart
which is
ecstatic.
great because we get more professionals in these fields that can really talk on a lot of these topics that some of us can't. So the volunteer crew did amazing as usual.
Hold up. I have a surprise now. Look, it's Tyler. I just throw him in when he's stretching. That's
Perfect.
No, that was definitely a hello.
That
I'm
was-
here. No, yeah, I was for sure stretching.
So
All
yeah,
good.
Tyler's one of our newest volunteers. Tyler and Canary both did an amazing
and
job. Both
excellent.
stepped right in. Uh, uh, it was funny at the beginning because Tyler, I always talk about the old days, and talk about how stressful it is. And Tyler was like, "So when's this stress going to happen?"
And I was like, shush, shush. You're going to do not do this to us. Do not jinx us.
So
And he didn't.
So Tyler, tell us and tell everyone about like your first year. How to feel? How'd it go?
I mean, you said it well enough when I was like, is it gonna get hard or is it gonna, just continue the way that it is? But no, I had a blast. Like, I enjoyed all of the I only really signed up for the panels that I would have gone to anyway.
Mhm.
So it made it so much easier just on the fact of being able to just show up and just know where I needed to go, know what I had to do. So it was easy.
Mhm.
I didn't feel stressed at all. I hope no one else really felt that pressure on them, but no, I really enjoyed it, and I do very much look forward to sticking on as long as I can.
Oh, good. Because, we were going to make you.
Yeah, you can't leave,
No.
especially now that I'm gone.
Right.
No.
Yeah.
So, what did you guys think? We set our rooms up differently this year, and I kind of wanted to. I'll tell you what my perspective. We can talk about how it was as a panelist, but how was it for you guys as running the boards? Because we went from going short ways to going long ways in the rooms. Crickets.
So Tyler, well, I was trying to give Tyler a chance to speak, but he also hasn't been here.
I was
You've been to the track
I was
though.
going to say
before.
I didn't really have the old way, so
Okay. But
He
you were,
only knows
I
the
mean,
new
you were
way.
you were one of the ones there helping us completely turn G6 around.
yeah,
Because that wasn't
I
set
showed
up
up
right.
I showed up the first day during that process of moving the chairs. I felt like running the board was okay. I think the only issue was in some of the panels where we only had one person. It was tough to run the board, the cameras, the computers, and all of that, and still kind of watch the door, especially on panels that were like super busy.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Um, but that's just scheduling for other people. Like obviously other people want to enjoy con just as much as anyone else.
Right.
But other than like a handful of times, I really don't think there was that big of an issue, and people were very gracious on the fact of if like I got up for 2 seconds from the board and walked away, I was like, "Excuse me, do you mind, taking a seat?" People were totally cool with it, and so I saw no issue. But like I said, I didn't have the old way, so I don't really know exactly how it was in the past, but I didn't find any major issues most of the time.
Yeah. So from my standpoint, we ran into a little struggle with G6 initially because we couldn't figure out exactly where to put the tech table. We had some ideas at first, but where power is in that room is a little odd.
So that's how you guys ended up.
That's how we ended up kind of in that corner
Okay.
that I think worked, but we were a little too close, like kind of tied into that corner.
Yeah, I think that was the only really weird thing about G6 was it was like, oh, hi.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, to be fair, when we had it the old way, we were kind of catty cornered, so it still wasn't that like odd, but it was difficult, like because the moderator typically sat in the stage left or excuse me, stage right, audience left seat closest to the tech table, but they're always looking down.
Yeah.
The table at the other panel members. So trying to get their attention for like 5-10 minutes was a little bit challenging.
Yeah, no, that was my only problem.
But
I did notice though that most of the time the panelists were doing a good job of kind of keeping themselves in check as far as time goes, because like every so often you'd see one of them kind of glance down at their phone, and then even when they looked over at me and I was holding up the 15-minute sign, they were like, "Yeah, like I got it." So either way, I think it wasn't terrible, but yeah, kind of getting that attention and just being like, or especially for like stream questions and stuff like that, which I didn't run into an issue that much. But yeah, just getting that attention.
Well, what we ended up doing for stream questions, which I think actually worked, was just whoever was teching in the room would just go up to the Q&A mic and ask the question.
I did that too. I would like screenshot it on my phone or take a picture and then just walk around and just say, from the stream, XYZ has this question.
Yeah, which I think that worked out really well because the trouble we have is, we're doing recording in the room, so only if you talk on mic can you really be heard. So you didn't really want to like shout over to the moderator, so getting onto the Q&A mic kind of solved that problem.
Well, and it's for me, I like that I could see everybody. Like it was hard when we did the rooms deep where the seats had many, many more rows. You couldn't really see the whole audience. But when we spread them out like that, it was much easier, I thought, to connect. So I really enjoyed it, particularly in G7. I thought it was a huge difference in there.
Yeah, I think G7 especially, because I think G7 has this perception of being the second room. It's the other room. You're not in G6, you're in G7. It's the side room type thing. And I think moving the way that we did, it added more seats to the room. Like I think normally we could fit like maybe 70, 80 in that room, and then the way we did it, we ended up fitting like 100, 110.
It was definitely a boon for us.
And I think it made both rooms feel equal to an extent.
Yeah. Well, and this is the first year that we actually had both rooms for the track. G7 we've had to split in the past.
No, we had G7 last year.
Did we have it G7? But we took a lot more slots out last year for breaking for meals and stuff, I thought.
No,
I'm just crazy.
I think the last 2 years we've had about the same panels. Before that, we did less initially, like coming out of the Pan ED and everything. But I think the last 2 years we've had about the same amount of panels.
Kaz agrees with you. So if Kaz says it, we know
Okay,
you two
yeah.
are right. I mean, she keeps track of all that. Galleria, yeah. So
Yes,
this is a
Galleria
good thing.
7. Sorry.
We always call it G7, though I put Galleria in all the things. And now I'm going to bring on another one of our panelists. So we're just going to add people. It's going to be fun. Wait till Stephen shows up.
Oh boy.
Hi, Sarah. Did you guys get to meet Sarah?
Hi.
Yes, I
Oh.
actually got to run her panel.
Oh, that's awesome
Yeah.
because I did not get to meet Sarah, I don't think. I think I might have
Sorry.
waved at you. No, it's not your fault. It's, it's
Scott got to see me be so nervous. I was like, I don't know where I'm supposed to be. I don't know. And I was like, I don't know.
No, you were fine.
So this is Cloak and Corset's first time with Hissin' and Kissin', and we won't say the tagline for it on our track at all. So how did you like us? Do you want to come back, or do you hate us? Do you want to roast screaming from the room?
We loved you guys, and we would absolutely love to come back. I think it was really great due to the sort of adult nature of our of our podcast to have that reassurance from Charles that like talk about what you want to talk about. Like there's we're after dark. There's no censored kind of.
Yeah. Well, and I love that you had such a great turnout because you filled the room and we were turning people like I had to fight people to keep them out.
Yeah.
I think
we
all
showed
of
up
our
and
After
there was
Dark panels filled up. Like
there was
massively.
a line when we showed up and we were like, what are you guys here for? And they were like the Hissin' and Kissin' panel. We were like, oh, what? like what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was a fun panel to witness because I think Tyra had told me about like the show and I'm like, oh, okay, that's gonna be interesting.
It'll be fun.
It was.
Yeah. We came in with the thing like, we're gonna get a little bit rowdy and we're gonna have a really good time. And you're gonna leave knowing some stuff that you didn't know before. Wink, wink, that judge.
Mm-hmm.
It's an after 10 panel, people. That's all I'm gonna say.
So was this your first Dragon Con?
No, this is my 5th Dragon Con, but my first panel. Yeah.
Okay.
It was my co-host's first panel. Yeah.
Okay, so it was you and your co-host's first panel. So
that's Jess. Yeah, she's chiming in. It was her first Dragon Con, not her first panel. It was my first panel, but not my first Dragon Con. So
okay.
I'm so confused. So her first Dragon Con?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Jess, good times.
Mm-hmm.
So just as a general question for both of you, how was your Dragon Con as a whole this year? Like, was there anything that you saw or like tell us about the Dragon Con?
It was great. Jess and I are both cosplayers. Jess is an amazing cosplayer. You can find her on Instagram at Jess is the gosh darn mess. And Jess is truly unhinged in the most wonderful ways. You might have caught her as like a sexy Lord Farquaad running around con. She
I feel like I might have
people would pass us in the habit trails and they'd go, my lord, and she'd go, pay your Duloc taxes. And it was the best thing I've ever seen.
That's fabulous.
Jess also did a really wonderful Tamlin from Akatar with a fiddle that she doesn't know how to play. So she would just be like, this is how I got fit. Yeah. There, Tyler, there she is. I don't know if it picks up very well.
It's hard to see.
Yeah.
Somebody drop her IG thing in my chat for me. Just drop your IG thing so I can do it for me.
Yeah. And she was just great with her like fiddle as Tamlin. Just really, really joyous. I think we had a really, really fun kind of unhinged time, which is really the energy that we tried to bring to things.
The panel was definitely unhinged. Like
It
did
truly
we record
was.
this? Can I go back and see it?
We did.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We did not stream it, but we recorded it.
It streamed. People watched it.
Oh no, it did
live.
stream.
Oh,
That's
good.
right. It did stream. The chat was active. The chat was active on that one.
Yeah.
I was gonna say there were a handful of After Darks that we did not stream. Like
yeah.
We will touch on those. We will talk about those later.
Talk about that.
Yeah, but it was a great con. We had so much fun. I think it's really the hardest I've laughed in a long time. Just nonstop laughter the whole time, which is great.
How about you,
including
Tyler?
our panel?
What was the question specifically?
Just tell us about your con as a whole, like beyond just being a volunteer.
Surprisingly, I think being a volunteer made and I know this is funny enough going back to what we were talking about Thursday of con. I think it made it less stressful for me.
Really?
Yeah, because like I said, knowing certain places that I had to be at certain times meant I knew, like, oh well, I don't have to worry about going to 4 panels that I know I'm gonna miss 3 of them.
Mm-hmm.
I have one specific place that I need to be, and you guys worked very well as far as like the digital media track goes. Worked very well as far as like, yes, work X amount of hours, but also, you're not like obligated to do everything. Like you don't always have to be here. You don't always have to whatever. If you don't show up, you can swap with someone. We'll fill in your spots. So I think having a bit more structure, it's a weird way of saying it. I think structure gave me more flexibility because it's like I knew where I needed to go. I had tunnel vision. I was back and forth. I honestly, and I know this is crazy to say, I went all of con without stepping foot in the Hyatt hotel because everything that I needed to do was just within
the Hilton and the Marquis
or the Marriott.
Yeah.
And maybe I hit the Westin like 3 times, I think, for some gaming panels. And I managed to hit up the vendor hall early one day. So other than that, I just kind of
so you didn't
back and forth.
So it sounds like you didn't have like the option paralysis that you normally would have had.
Correct. Yeah. The fact that, like I said, I'm always going through of like, okay, well, I really want to go to this panel, but I really want to go to this one, but it's at the exact same time. And then it's like a mental coin flip of like, well, which one am I going to be more upset if I miss?
See, I'm curious if that's what I'm going to run into next year, because I'm going to be like, oh, I have all this free time. What am I supposed to do? Like a lot of people ask me like, oh, what are you going to do next year? I'm like, I have no idea.
I don't know.
He's gonna drift by the track.
Anything when you have all of this time, that's when you fall and break your glasses, and then you can't see anything anyway. So you have all this time, but you can't. You can't.
Right.
It makes you like prioritize, like, because I have so many panels, and Shane and I sit down and are like, okay, what do we really must do, and how do we fit everything in around it?
Yeah.
So I think you're completely right. I think having a little structure helps you deal with the chaos. So, and next year, Scott will have like 7 things for each time period that he wants to do, and then he has to figure that out.
Yeah, that's gonna be the interesting thing, is because like I've never gotten a chance to really explore Dragon Con, because I've always been pretty much stuck in the basement. And if I'm not there physically, I'm still kind of there mentally, because I want to make sure everything is going good and checking in, and is there any problems and all that good stuff.
Yeah, it's hard when you're in charge of something to just let it go when you're not there, I think.
Yeah.
So, but I thought overall, Dragon Con ran really smoothly for us. And overall, this was definitely one of my best Dragon Cons. I had a blast, got to do everything I wanted to, spent way too much time in the dealer's room because we planned it at us, and got to meet Danny Trejo, so my life is complete. He was awesome.
That's awesome.
Having in trying, this is the thing, Valencia just said this, had to leave a panel early just to see Seth Green at his panel. It is so hard to try to do things back to back at Dragon Con.
Well, especially when it's someone like Seth Green or some of the bigger names where those lines are going to be 2 hours long, and you might get in. Like that's the hard part too. I think that was the one thing as a volunteer that volunteer got in the way of, is that I couldn't go to any of those big panels where I knew the line was going to be an hour long and wrapped around the Marriott 5 times. But at the same time, it's like those aren't always it's a hit or miss on whether or not you're going to get in anyway. And then it took the stress off of the fact of like, well, I'm not going to be disappointed, and I didn't waste 2 hours of my life standing in a line knowing that I wasn't going to get in. Like I did that for Adam Savage last year, and I was like, well, I could have spent that 2 hours going to the Mortal Kombat panel that I really wanted to go to. So it's like it's a hit or miss on all of that, but you have to know that going in. So
and get the Dragon Con digital, TV thing. They will have a lot of those panels that were, showstoppers that you can watch that way if you miss them. I'm sorry, I interrupted you, Sarah.
No, I'm sorry, I interrupted you. I was going to say this year, I think a big thing that I really haven't seen that many people talking about is how hot it was outside. As a cosplayer, at like one time I was head to toe leather. And I was like, I'm gonna have a heat stroke. And even standing outside for panels in that direct sun coming off the cement, like it was a brutal year to be outside for the big photo shoots on the Hilton or wrapping around the Marriott for a panel. Like it was a lot this year. Usually there's like, I'm from Florida, so I'm a little bit biased, but usually there's like a touch of fall in the air. I say like 70 degrees. Not this year. This year
that was the
like
week before.
hot.
The week before Dragon
really,
Con
really
was beautiful.
Yeah, it was miserable this year. Fun, but very hot outside.
See, I so rarely was outside, so I have no I have no concept.
Yeah, it was bad.
It was bad.
Mm-hmm.
Because I walked a lot of times. I would go outside.
Worst for me was I think the worst for me was being in the parade. That's where I.
That's
felt
right. You were in the parade. I forgot about that.
How was the parade?
It was good. It was a lot of fun. I walked with Netherworld. So I was. This is actually the first year. This is my third year working Netherworld. First year where I've finally broken the mental barrier and I'm able to actually use contacts instead of my glasses. So I've only ever been face makeup characters. And then so this year I'm able to actually, like I said, get past that mental barrier, get contacts in. So it's the first year that I ever wore a full like silicone mask.
Oof.
And I was like, oh, I've totally got this. And then like we got through most of it and I was like, okay, this is good. This is going well. I had a bottle of water in the truck that I could just go and grab every so often. It wasn't until we turned the last corner heading towards the Marriott. I don't know what I did, if I like moved weird or like did some weird whatever, but like I immediately just my head started swimming and I was like, oh, what have I done? What choices have I made in life? But by that point we were over anyway. So but that was fun. I posted some of those pictures in the digital media Discord channel. I will give a content warning on the fact that it is creepy clowns this year at Netherworld. So if you do not like creepy clowns, do not go and look at those pictures.
That was him.
But if you do like / spoiler, it'll cover that up.
Oh no, I did. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, he was good about it.
Okay.
I looked anyway, of course, because I'm that girl.
As a Canadian, the heat was rough. Yeah.
Jessica, we have a track regular called Nerdy, who this was her first Dragon Con and her first time being a panelist at Dragon Con, and she was awesome. She's also a cosplayer, and she's also Canadian, and she would say the same thing.
That was Nerdy Body.
Nerdy
Oh, that was Nerdy Body. Okay.
Yeah, Nerdy Body. She was on, I can't remember. She was on both the community panels that I did.
Yeah.
I feel bad. I was on a podcast with her one of the first like few weeks before Dragon Con, and I never got to meet her in person.
Oh no.
I wasn't at those panels.
Well, the good news is Nerdy's going to be back next year. I'm super excited. So So for everybody who doesn't know, I'm on a Discord server that's not digital media for a fandom. And I know, gasp. And I met her that way and some other women, and they came to Dragon Con.
That's awesome.
From New York, the Midwest, and Canada, and had a blast. So let me tell you, we did so much right. And I totally agree with this person. I would not be looking at the clowns before going to bed. But just in case we don't have enough chaos.
You're muted. You're muted.
I know. Oh man, surprise!
I know. I didn't even give you a second notice.
We have Con Dad in the house, Mr.
You
Steven
do.
Adams.
Are you Con Dad?
He is now.
I guess that's what everybody started calling me. They started calling me America's Dad or
I
Con
was gonna say,
Dad
I'm
or
an
the
America's Dad.
America's
something
Dad,
like
I'm
that.
with that. I'm with that.
It's because of all my wholesome behavior amongst all you hoodlums. That's what this is all about.
Sure. Anyway, lightning strikes coming in.
he's got us beat.
Well, true that. I'm just a childless cat lady. Anyway, so Stephen, how was your Dragon Con?
It was so good, Tyra. I had the best time.
Did you? You saw me,
yeah.
so I know you did.
Oh yeah, of course. I got all the hugs. I had gotten ill before I ever came to con, so I was immune. My immunities were strong, so that was great.
My husband's weren't.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
He did not get the C word. He got the con cred.
Oh, good. He
got the two
word.
C's, not the one.
He got the two C's, not the one. And then he
C
gave it to
squared.
me. Bless him.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Well,
that's really
what happens when you
unfortunate.
live together.
That's true. I have lived with him and not gotten the flu or COVID, but con crud put me in line. Anyway.
Con crud's a different beast. It's a different
level.
animal.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So what was your favorite part about Dragon Con this year, Stephen, besides being part of the digital media track?
Besides being a part, just hanging out with friends. I had such a wonderful time. So I've been telling people, you go to Dragon Con your first couple years and you're like celebrities and costumes, and you're wandering around all day, all the time looking for, to spot, oh, look, there's Sam Worthington, or there's, somebody cool. Now I've been a veteran, so now I'm just like, where's Groove at? Let me go down to the TMC, the digital media track. Is Tyra down there yet? That's who I am at the con now. It's what I enjoy. So besides digital media, I'm still looking for people. And I got to room with my good buddy Travis and TV's Travis, and that was just super cool.
Travis is great.
Yeah,
he's the best.
This was actually, ironically enough, Steven and I met, was it 20? I think it was 2018.
Yeah.
Or
2019, right before COVID took us out for that next year.
That's right, it was 2019.
Yeah.
And that hit, I met Steven, I met Smashy, and Tater. I can't think of his real
Jacob.
name. Jacob, thank you.
But Tater counts. That's also a name he uses.
And Jacob, who was their show producer, and we had a lovely lunch together. That was our first time meeting, and then we never got to hang out ever since.
Yeah, ever since.
Every year it was like, dude, we got to hang out, we got to have lunch, and just we could never make it work.
We should have Scott the farmer volunteer lunch this next time.
Yes. There you go.
And so finally this year, I got to actually spend time with him, with TV's Travis, who I've known through the internet but never in person.
So awesome.
And we had a great time.
Oh yeah. It was an absolute blast. It just being, and this is not like, this was the first year I've flown solo in a while. Like the family didn't tag along. Mm-hmm. So I would never speak ill of having my family tag along because they're wonderful. But like, there's a sense of I don't have any other obligations, so I can just wander, which was kind of neat to be that level of free where I could just go, I'm gonna go to the basement and see if I can chip in anywhere. Yeah, so showing up ahead of time to help move chairs around was super fun. Like,
he did chip in on that. Which if you come to the basement, you will get voluntold. If you hang around long.
Yeah.
Scott doesn't even have to come to the basement for me to voluntold him.
Yeah.
We do have a question from Jessica, though, being a great co-host to Sarah. What's your most memorable moment from this year's DC? And I can't wait to hear what some of you say. Who wants to go first? Crickets.
All right, Sarah, I choose you.
Oh, I love this. Thank you, Scott.
Yeah, your co-host asked.
That's right.
Yeah, thanks, Jess. I mean, besides the panel, I think really it was connecting with listeners because, I work from home. I don't really get to interact with people in person, but we had people come up to us that were like, we listened to the podcast. We came here to see you guys, which was like amazing. Like I would have never thought that ever. So that was just really like, that was something that's going to live rent free in my mind for a while. Like I was like, this is amazing. And I definitely think for us, it was the pod, at least for me, it was definitely the podcast and seeing all of Jess's Unhinged cosplays. It's tough,
Well,
Steven?
we're all going to
That's
IG
great.
after this to see them.
Yeah, you have to. You really have to.
Mine's-
I've been
my-
looking at
my-
him this whole time. I'm just just scrolling
He's
through.
like, I'm
just these
not
are
waiting. Screw
fantastic.
y'all. Doom scroll.
Check it out
I'm
on
looking.
TikTok too. There's videos.
I don't do TikTok.
Sweet. No, I can't because it makes my phone make noise, and I'm old enough to be like, phone never should make noise ever. That's who I am. But yeah, dude, like the memorable stuff, it's weird because you would think it'd be like, oh, the panel I did or whatever, and the panels were great, but there was one thing to me that encapsulated everything I love about Dragon Con. I was sitting with my friend Charlie at a table at a coffee shop, and it's crowded, and we're just watching people walk by. This one dude comes and plops down. He's like, man, my feet are tired. Can I just sit with you? It's a total stranger. Sure, you can sit down. That's awesome. He sits with us for 2 minutes. I get his name. We chit-chat a little bit. He said, I need to go find my friend. Can you watch my stuff for a minute? Backpack, props, whatever. Leaves it there right with us. Two strangers. We've known him for 2 minutes. So I mentioned that to Charlie. I was like, can you dude just leaves it with us? Like, and he comes back, and I bring it up to him, and I said, man, you just left your stuff with us. You'd know us for 2 minutes. He looks at me and goes, this is Dragon Con. And I was like, dude, like that just says everything about what the con is. It makes me, yeah, it makes me really like we have a very trusting environment. Charlie lost his wallet at one point and didn't remember where he sat it down. He's like, I think my wallet's been picked, and I just confidently could say, nobody picked your wallet. You're fine.
It's right on the
in
table
room
where you left it.
Yeah, and sure enough, it was right on the table in the room. So there's just that kind of thing that it's fun to go to Dragon Con and be reminded of how special that place really is.
Tyler, how about you?
I'm gonna say 3 different things. I'm gonna so one that super stuck out, and we'll probably bring it up later because I know that we talked about the fact that we're gonna like talk about some of the panels and specifically some of the like after 8 to 10
The after dark
PM
panels.
panels.
Yep.
The
Adult Swim
it might
panels.
come up later, so we can talk about it later. It doesn't matter.
Uh-huh.
But raising like $2,100.
Oh yeah,
From the Loodle Crew.
That
was
that was awesome.
fantastic. That was the best thing. The panel itself and the drawings and the artwork was hysterical for me to just sit there and witness.
Yeah.
But then watching the absolute like panic and struggle of like a group of like I think primarily like the botched crew or at least some of them trying to
botched and
outbid
friends. Botched
another
and
dude.
friends.
Yeah, trying to outbid another dude and just driving it up to like close. I think he spent like $690.
Yeah.
And then that pushed us over that like 2,100 threshold.
Yeah,
So
that was insane
good.
here.
As a volunteer, that was a standout. As a con goer, I'm gonna give a huge shout out to literally the one cosplay that I saw that made me like sprint past a group of people and be like, oh my god, you guys are amazing. Was the Riz Gutgak and Fig from Dimension 20 that I got a picture of. They were fantastic and they were super nice. And I have the dude, he actually was handing out Riz business cards, so I kept that in my wallet. I can't find the picture right now.
That's awesome.
It's probably on full run through on Instagram.
It's not because I don't upload pictures to Instagram.
I can't help him.
Jeez. You gotta learn
Throw
from
the
the master.
bone. They just slam it in your face. These kids
Anyway,
these days.
Anyway, they were fantastic. So that was my favorite as a con goer. And then just one other thing was that I ran into 2 people that I follow on Instagram that I didn't feel comfortable enough to like sit there and have a full conversation with them, but I just very quickly was just like, hey guys, love your stuff, and then just like ran away. So those are 3 big like standouts to me. Fourth is the fact that I ran into another, you can't see it, I ran into another 3-hole punch gym at the Doctor Who ball, so that was fun. It's always fun when you run into someone wearing the same costume as you, especially if it's something like that small and that like niche. You know, I found the picture, but once again, you can't.
So
see
there's
a
a
shout out to the Riz and Fig that I yelled at from across the hotel lobby.
I'm sure that made their day too.
It did. I'm 100% sure.
If
So there's a picture, and talk about incidental cosplays. I wasn't even cosplaying. I think it was 3 years ago, one of the first times I actually left the room on a Friday, like to go get lunch. And I was hanging out with Mike and Steph, and literally walks by. I was in the green volunteer shirt at my green shorts and freshly shaven and everything like that, and literally walked by a dude, shaved head, green volunteer shirt, green short, like the exact same thing. So we like, and didn't even recognize it. Like Mike pointed it out. It's like, oh god. So we have a Spider-Man picture that's in my phone. That's on my, I think it's on my Facebook to this day,
Oh,
of
that's
us
awesome.
just like pointing at each other.
That's
so
awesome.
good.
What
May
about
we
you,
all find
Tyra? Any memorable moments?
Yeah. Well, first off, meeting the girls was great. I had a moment when we were doing our cosplay panel. Sketching Shakespeare was going on, and G7 behind us, and somebody roared, and we heard it. And I looked at the audience, and I said, "Well, we can't let Shakespeare do that to us." And I was like, "On 3, roar!" And I was like, "Okay, like maybe they'll do it." No, they did it, and they did it very loudly. And then the Shakespeare people roared back. It was great. We were louder.
We didn't. So with the new setup this year, we didn't get nearly as much
No. Of the
cross
Brit track.
audio that we get. Yeah, especially with Brit track, because
Track.
Brit track is loud. But even so, before it was always side by side, so you get cross. Sometimes the audio would cross into the other rooms. We didn't have that as much, but it's always fun when one room screams or roars, and then the other room instantly comes back like a minute later with a roar.
I was,
And
so
they always
proud.
like go back and forth like 2 or 3 times.
I can't remember which panel it was that I was running tech for, but they were running. I think we looked it up, and it ended up being it was the Brit track was doing like the Doctor Who puppet something.
Okay.
Okay.
And they were in the middle of talking and just doing their thing, and then just every so often we would just hear a Dalek from the
Sarah.
other room. like it was it was either during the immersive theater or the parents like parenting in the digital age. It may have not even been either of those. Oh no, wait, no, I know which one it was. It was Building a Better World, like better world building, because it was like the
good, they
brother and
showed up.
sister that were together running theirs. And just like every so often, like they would be in the middle of a small like conversation, we would just hear exterminate. And we're just like, will you stop?
Oh, they're crazy. So speaking of other tracks, I had a friend of mine on ours, Anthony from Anthony Williams. He's usually on the Brit track, and he said that we were the best run track he'd ever been a part of, and
Jackpot.
that everything was awesome, and we had better panels and moderators, and we were great. So I just wanted to pass it on.
Hey, Rob.
Made me feel all squishy inside when he said something. And there's Rob. We love Rob. Rob
We
Roberts.
love Rob.
That's a stage name, by the
Yeah,
way.
I always take a special pride when people come up and tell us that, like, that's not not to brag myself too much, but we've heard that quite a bit. And that's always a point of pride to me, is like, no, we do our own thing. We're professionals. We're kind, and we try to take care of each other, and, to this day, like, I can't say enough great things about this community that we've built.
Well, there's a level of acceptance you get when you just join in at all. Like, for one, we have the Discord, so you kind of, if you use it, we get to know people a little before we walk in.
We
And
try.
then when you walk in, I feel like every time I've ever seen a new person join, or somebody that's doing a panel for the first time, I mean, you just say, "Hey, I'm doing a panel." You're like, "Oh, it's so great to see you. Thank you for doing a panel and joining the track." There's a lot of really focused welcoming that happens just naturally, and I think that's That's really good.
Yeah,
And
you see people like kind of take other people underneath their wing. Like, here, let me show
Yeah.
you around. Let me show you how this works. You
Okay,
know,
get ready for it. She's back.
hey,
Okay.
Sarah's back.
Hey.
Oh no.
I was like, just tell her we said bye. Yes, our track runs amazingly well, and sometimes our live stream does too, and other times it doesn't.
I blame Florida. I'm sorry.
No, blame Charles.
fine.
That's remember that
Yeah,
was our thing.
it's
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry.
It's always
I'm learning.
Charles' fault.
I'm new.
Yep.
Yeah.
Also want to say hi to Bobby Blackwolf, who I always change his last name when I get the chance for him. He's an old time regular. I'm just an old timer. Now a regular, I guess. I don't know.
I mean, you're pretty regular.
Yeah, you're always there. We can
Well,
count
my-
on you.
Oh, well, that's good. Oh, and so she's going to tell you bye for us later. So, it'll all be good.
The joys of 3 hours apart.
Yeah, no, true. Okay, so it's 8:45, so I'm going to pretend like it's 10 o'clock, but we're still not going to use bad words. Because, we do programming after 10 o'clock. And how did it go? I actually had my first after 10 panel. So I'm the girl who always says the F word before 10 o'clock. I've not done that I did not do it at all this past year. I was very proud of myself. And when I had the opportunity to do it after 10, I didn't. But we were doing a panel about cosplay, and there was lots of, if you listen to the live stream before DragonCon, there was lots of boobage, as we called it. So we put us after 10. So same thing as hissing and kissing. But what would I know some of you were at after 10 programming. Yeah. And by the way, Bobby has never said a bad word in his life.
Bobby lies as he breathes.
So I kind of last minute signed up for the after 10 panels, just because they were the only ones still available, and I was like, I need to put a few more on my volunteer sheet so I don't get fired from my volunteer job. But I will say, and like I said a minute ago, on the fact of like they were some of the most wild and like insane things I've ever witnessed at DragonCon, period. Like across the board, across my third year of going. And they were, of all of the ones, I think we maybe had like 2, maybe 3 during the early hours that I was like, hey, we need to watch the door, we need to whatever. I think we packed out every single After Dark panel
We did.
that was available. Like, we were turning people away for salty bets, we were turning people away for Boodle, we were turning people away for, like the spicy like the spicier side of social media thing.
Go look at that promo. Thank you.
Yeah,
That's still the best promo. That's still the best
My
promo.
favorite ever.
Those were like some of the biggest ones. And I honestly, I know it's going to get edited and like uploaded later, but like the thrill and like the excitement of the salty bets thing.
How were they?
I had never
heard of them.
So I had heard. Okay, I knew once I saw it, I knew what Salty Bets was, because there's a place called Battle and Brew, and they'll just show the thing. So basically, what it was explained to me as is that people can just go online, pay money, and build a character inside a fighter game. You can give it power-ups, you can give it stats, you can give it abilities, and like a sprite that's just on the screen. It just randomly pits 2 of them against each other, and it's made the best man win.
It's essentially fighting game fantasy football. Is probably the best way. Like, you can have any and it's not just fighting game sprites that are in there. There's wacky anime stuff. There's just
I'm
stuff.
pretty sure, I can't remember exactly. I'm pretty sure Karl Marx made an appearance.
Yes.
Like Karl Marx versus like some anime mech or something like that.
Yep.
It was the most
So
insane
it is-
thing, and it's like you're watching and you're like, oh, Karl Marx isn't ever really going to be able to do anything. What's he going to do? Like philosophize? And he pulls out like a freaking katana and just shoots the person with a gun. It's like,
Yeah.
it's all because
Salty Bet is just.
if someone just paid money to make that character a thing.
We should, and
I was very saying.
make him the weakest character ever.
Non-volunteer Scott should do that next year.
Yeah, but just the fact
I
that
wouldn't know
people
where to begin
got
with that one.
into it.
Me neither.
so
Yeah,
much.
it's so for those that don't know, it's called Mugen fighting, and
okay,
it's
Someone just
it's
put
called
it in.
Salty Bet because online people actually bet now, not actual money. It's just fake points. So there's like kind of this underground betting vibe to it, where it's just like it's chaotic, but in like the best way.
Yeah. So basically,
This
all
makes-
they did for the panel was they just said, all right, if you want to pick the red team, move to this side of the room. If you want to pick the blue team, move to this side of the room.
Mhm.
And people were just constantly just running back and forth. I was like,
Yeah.
if the fire marshal walks in right now, this whole con is getting shut down.
This makes
That's
so
what
much
I was-
more sense.
Go ahead.
I thought you were saying salty bits. I thought you were saying
I do
salty
too.
bits, and then Bobby says Mugen. I'm like, I know what Mugen is. So now it all makes sense. I was
Yeah,
multiple layers of confused,
Yeah.
but interested.
I
Sorry,
had I was all layers of confused.
Listen, I know what kind of podcast we do, and I was like, salty bits?
That's
yeah,
what
I was
I
like, salt.
Yeah.
It's one of those things. It's one of those like internet culture things you have to experience to really get it. Like description
And-
enough doesn't really do it for you.
Sarah,
And
I
I
have
feel
no
like we're in this
experienced it.
together.
Yeah.
Now, I'll
I've
say-
experienced it, and I am a fan now.
I'll say like I watched it on the Twitch stream because I was tired, because I'd been running panels all that day, and it did seem for all the chaos they had a good handle on the crowd.
Yeah.
Like they were very clear on their instructions. They were very clear on like, hey, do this, do that. You know,
yeah,
they
the
had
three guys
it
that did
down. Like they did
Yeah,
a great
the three
job.
guys that did it were
Yeah.
very professional, as professional as you would want to be in a like high tense like comedy
Yeah.
whatever. But
And
like he very openly at the beginning was like, we know this is called salty bets. If I see any money come out of your pocket that is not going in the charity bucket, we will throw you out. like
yeah.
he very much was like gambling
Because
is
it's not
happening.
gamble. It's not actual
Yeah.
gambling. Like I have to stress this because I don't want
I-
people to get the wrong idea.
So no bets,
Mhm.
and Sarah, there were no bits, which is what I thought
I'm
too.
out.
So
No bets,
Now-
no bids.
And sadly, and
us
sadly,
and Valencia were all together.
and
on this one.
unlike Sarah's panel, no butts either.
No butts, bits, or bets. What are we even doing?
Okay.
We-
But it was
and
after
this-
Let's
dark.
move on to the Loodle crew.
well,
Oh,
and
Loodle Crew.
can I just
So
say
good.
something? I'm such a blonde. I never caught that Lude was part of Loodle Crew until this year. I felt so stupid.
It's
I always-
it's lewd doodles. It's a portmanteau.
I think I always
Yeah, no,
I think
I
I
did-
always miss Little Crew because I think that's always they run opposite of botched, and I
They
always do botched, so I never get to see that. I remember seeing like I think Tyler posted it in the Discord or somebody did of like they just sold a piece for $690. Like what the
It
what
was
just
wild.
happened?
It was
So
the coolest thing.
somewhere-
I got video of that back and forth, by the way. I caught it while it was happening. I was like, I need
So we-
this on video.
We didn't stream, but we recorded it.
Okay,
No,
good.
Wait, did we?
fairly certain we recorded it.
I'm sure we recorded it, but that will never get uploaded because TOS.
No.
We
It
can't.
cannot. I can
Um,
as someone that was in the room where it happened, that absolutely
Yeah.
should never go on any social media whatsoever.
But I also and not just because she's in here with the chat with us and we've been talking over her this entire time. I have to give it again. I have to give props to Sarah and for hissing and kissing.
Yay.
Oh,
'Cause
thank
that was-
you.
Peace talk.
I thought that was going to be a great panel. And you guys, I know you guys. I could tell you guys were nervous,
We were really
Uh,
nervous, I think.
especially
Um,
like I definitely caught like a deer in headlights when people started filling the room.
Yeah,
yeah, that thing was
think
packing out.
It went beyond what we expected, and we really went in with it was we wanted to do our podcast kind of shortened, but we wanted to have like a rowdy good time.
Yeah,
we
that's
didn't
right. Because
come-
I'm sorry.
Go
Go
ahead,
ahead.
sorry. No,
finish.
we rated dragons based on their attractiveness, which was
Ooh.
very controversial. And I just said, like, you guys aren't gonna like it, but it's
Which
part of
was-
what we're doing now.
Now I don't recall which one was the most divisive. Do you remember?
I think it would either be Figment or Elliot's dragon, maybe.
Yeah, it's kind of
It
hard
is
when you
hard.
bring in. It's kind of hard when you bring in the child movie character.
I got no.
Like
They weren't
Elliot's
children.
dragon
They're
is the
dragons.
goat, man.
They're
We
dragons.
have
They're
a-
not children.
we have a
They're not
fur line.
children.
I'm
They're
a
adult
con-
dragons.
I
They're,
don't know.
they're adult dragons.
Is Figment an adult?
How old is
Are we-
Figment is
Figment?
the imagination, and if he licks
Well,
a
there is
person
that.
on his ride and says that person tastes like chicken, which means that he eats people, which I feel like is an adult dragon trait.
Okay.
We're just gonna leave that there now.
Dragons, all dragons depicted are of age.
Yes, to be very clear on that. We also did a really fun like Mad Libs where we
Mhm.
passed out things
That
for
was
people to
good.
fill in.
Oh,
That was
cool.
great.
And
I
we
love
weren't
that.
sure like if that was going to go too long. And I think if we're going to do it again, we're going to double it because it was absolutely kind of
I was
wild.
I was pleasantly surprised because I think we ended like 10-15 minutes early.
Yeah, we ended a little bit early
Ooh.
because
you
we
were
just,
like you're
weren't
like okay, we're
sure.
done. I'm like, oh, okay.
I was so worried about going over because I'm like very much like that planner person that I
Mhm.
think that we just kind of like zipped through it. But now we know. Now we have
I
like
know.
a better,
Well, you
handle
I
it.
mean, and then even then that gave you more time to actually stand there and talk with people and get
Yeah.
to know, like, I mean, because like I said, as soon as they were done, like they were rushed.
yeah,
It was
yeah.
pretty, like,
Well, that's
it was pretty
good.
intense.
I think my favorite thing is the next day I ran into somebody who is an ASL interpreter for DragonCon, and she came to our panel for fun. And she
Mhm.
said, please let me come to your panel next year and interpret the things that you are saying for an hour. She's like,
nice.
nothing
Oh my
would make
God.
me happier. And I was like, absolutely. Send me an email. Like, let's see if we can get in there because I would love to see that as well.
And
I
tell
think
her
it would
I'll
be
hype her up
amazing.
too.
Yeah. So it was great, like hearing feedback like that and getting kind of that crowd interaction.
And you guys and you guys genuinely you guys did a great job with it.
Oh,
Like
thank
it was
you.
very like you can tell that you guys you knew you knew what you were doing, you knew what you were going for. Yeah, maybe what you rushed it a little bit just because you were worried about the time, but you guys like had it down.
Yeah. we
So
practiced.
I want to make sure you get props for that.
Oh, thank you.
You practiced?
I appreciate it.
That's
yeah, we practiced.
practicing isn't
Oh.
Practice.
Yeah,
This is
wow.
Practice crap.
What
Yeah,
is that?
so
I've never done
We even
that before.
practiced our Mad Libs. We had like random things filled in.
That's
That's
so great.
My students
So-
even practice. That's
So
awesome.
who was the sexiest dragon, and was it
Oh.
Smaug simply for the fact that it's also
No.
been a Benedict?
Listen, I had
No,
a picture
Smaug
of Benedict
wasn't-
Cumberbatch up there in the little dots and the thing. No, it wasn't him. And I stand by that. I was like, this is not my sexy dragon.
So who is it?
Oh,
Yeah, we're
no,
waiting.
I think it's Dragon from Shrek.
Aw,
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean,
You know,
so cute.
Yeah.
canonically,
The offspring is there. The proof
canonically,
is in the pudding. you know?
canonically, that dragon does
Yeah,
do
that's what we
things.
say.
Yeah.
Yeah. Canonically, the proof is there. So I think,
Yeah.
I mean, the bedroom eyes, the lipstick, the
Yeah.
contouring.
Mhm,
You're a
mhm.
girl dragon.
Yeah. Yeah, he is.
Okay. So I've got to ask Steven, because he's did something that the rest of us didn't do. You were on main stage, weren't you? Doing some stuff?
I was in the Crystal Ballroom.
Were you? How was
Yeah,
it?
that was cool. So our imposter syndrome panel that we did last year,
That's
to
right. You
try
got
and-
bumped up.
yeah, we got bumped up because, apparently everyone at DragonCon is insecure and unsure if they should actually be there doing what they're doing.
What a shock.
Turns out, yeah, it
Shocker.
turns out that's a nerd magnet right there. So we got pulled into the big room. The thing that happened to us though is being in that big room. So there's 500 seats, but they also gave us a time slot at 8:30, like right when everyone's getting ready to go party. They're like, would you like to go learn about being an imposter or go get your costume on to go drink? So we didn't end up packing it out, but we still had quite the turnout.
Yay.
And got to answer some great questions. And the panelists that were on it with me were amazing. We had Bean, we had Heather Body, we had Phil, we had Phaedra.
Yeah.
So it was super, super awesome. And then, oh man, I can't remember her name, but she was a therapist. She was great. Duly noted was
Yes.
with us. It was fantastic. So yeah, that was weird though. I've never been on a stage where you were like up and like,
I
looking
know,
out
it's
over
weird,
everyone.
isn't it?
Yeah, and I was shocked when we ran in. They were like, "What do you need? How many mics? Blah blah blah." And I was overwhelmed with all the questions. I was like, "I just usually walk into the room and go sit down." So it's like, because our room's so chill and like there's no pressure. You just kind of wander in. Hey, where do I sit? What am I doing? They were all like, this is a big room kind of attitude. So it scared me a little bit. But we recovered. We had a great time. Answered some great questions, I think. It was a lot of fun.
Good for you.
And I
Nice.
think that Loodle Crew should definitely be upgraded to a room. Like that's the second year they've packed out that room and turned people away. If I'm not remembering it incorrectly, like they definitely deserve that bump. For
Noodle
sure.
and probably Blurred.
Blurred. Oh yeah,
blurred
Blurred.
out. Blurred out. Yeah.
Blurred out needed to be in the crystal ballroom.
Yeah. Cause if
Yeah,
you're out
absolutely.
there, duly note these things.
I always say it like, and I even said it prior to Dragon Con, like any Blurred panel, the Blurreds show up in force. They always show up and they always, are down for a good time.
And
that one was a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun. That one almost got a little serious at one point because some people got a little too hyped up.
it happens.
But
It does.
yeah, they definitely needed to be in like the crystal ballroom, if not bigger.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah,
Well-
so Blurred Out was happening at the same time as karaoke in the other room.
Oh my
and
gosh.
we almost couldn't hear karaoke at some points because of how easy they were.
Wow.
And we had big
Like not in a
turnouts for
bad way.
karaoke
Not in a
too.
bad way. Like that is a full compliment.
Yeah.
So we need bigger rooms. Come on, people. Let's bring it. Well, Sarah has dropped our closing question. I think is a great one. Anything you want to see come back next year? And then I got some stuff that I got to tell you about before we leave too. But so Scott, what do you want to see next year?
Oh man.
Dragon Con.
Not
Yeah, let's actually go.
I was about to say not the basement of the Hilton. No. Bobby, I've already got my ticket.
Did you?
I'm coming back. Yeah, I've already bought my ticket. I am coming back. Don't worry.
Good, 'cause
I
I'd
won't.
cry.
I like I said, I'm just not working, but I will still be around. As far as what I want to see from the digital media track,
Oh, that's good. Let's try that.
Hissed and Kissed needs to come back.
I agree.
And we already talked about this. I think Blurred Out needs to be in the crystal ballroom. I want to see people move up. I want to see Little Crew in the ballroom, and I want to see even more people, coming in next year and see some even more new faces. That's how you keep things fresh. That's how you get different perspectives. There was a while there where it was just kind of like, and I'm not saying this to negatively talk down or anything, anyone. But there was a couple years there where it just seemed like the same people were doing the same panels year in and year out, which they were great. They did great jobs, but, it was time for some people to move on and move up and, some new fresh faces to come in. Yeah, right, Bobby.
False.
Bobby moved up to main stage this year and had some
Well, Bobby's
fun.
always been around the main stage and the gaming track, so
That's true. That's true.
But yeah, I just I like seeing the new faces. I like seeing new people have success, and get a chance to do different things. Talking about oh my God, our two volunteers got to do their podcast this year.
Flicker effect.
Flicker Effect. I'm sorry, I had a brain fart.
It's okay.
You know, but getting to see Flicker Effect do their show, getting to see TV's Travis do his show, you know, that's exciting stuff because that's different. And even seeing some of the theater panels come on this year, like that's a different side of things that maybe we didn't consider, or we just didn't see before. And that's, I think that what keeps a track interesting. If it's just the same panelists in the same 5 panels every year, it gets dull. So I want to keep seeing the growth. I want to see more people. Is there any?
So Valencia was in the audience for Flicker Effect. I'm so excited. That's Michelle and Dave, and their co-host was here from California.
Yeah.
And we hope that he'll be back. And Kevin wants to know, is there truth to the rumor that the digital media track is doing a 24-hour interpretive dance panel?
I mean, I'm not a volunteer, so I have no idea.
Oh. That's our answer from those two. Yeah, I want to see.
So yeah,
Charles.
keep an eye out in the Discord. Keep an eye out for when the panel pitches open up. They should be opening up soon-ish.
Sometime in October.
But yeah, so that's what I want to see.
So Tyler, what do you want to see? I'm going to go around the circle just so everybody goes and can prepare themselves.
Yep. So for 2025 next year, I'm really just trying to find that missed connection that I didn't have. Sorry, I've been on the Facebook page too much.
The
so
missed
confusing.
connection.
It's a thing. Do not look at the Dragon Con official stuff right now. It is literally nothing but like post after post after post of like, hey, I saw you across the room.
And you looked at me and we should be married. And
Tyler, Dragon Con is not for misconnections. This is not a dating site, okay? That's not what Dragon Con is.
Tell that to everybody on the Facebook.
Hi. Dragon Con is
from the Hissing and Kissing podcast. It's not a dating
site.
Sarcasm. It's a dating site. If I hadn't Facebook friended Shane, that's exactly what I would have been doing.
I mean, in fairness, I am.
Maybe that's
Dragon Con, but I am marrying the woman that I met up with at Dragon Con. We knew each other before Dragon Con, but we met up again.
You know what? That's also what I want to see next year. My future wife.
There you go. No, in a very serious. I thought y'all were more in touch with the Facebook page than I
got the joke.
I'm on it way too much.
No, I got it. I was giving
we were just ignoring you.
We're giving you crap. I was giving
you
crap.
That's fine. I get it. No, okay. So I do agree on the fact of I really did love the immersive theater panel. That was one of the ones that I actually worked that I was super interested in.
Mm-hmm.
I got some really cool names from that and a few that like if I ever get around to it, I will definitely be doing. If I had the money right now, I would definitely be paying for the one-on-one like immersive theater horror phone call. It was the craziest thing I've ever heard of. So like more of that is cool. I also like it how we specifically as digital media have kind of separated a few different pieces that they don't fully cover on the gaming track. Because like I said, I rushed over to the Westin a few times for a few D&D panels, but we specifically had ones geared more towards how to not only play D&D, but also, or any TTRPG or whatever, but then also like get that out to the people and like build an audience and have interaction with the outside world other than just, 4 nerds sitting in a basement, which isn't bad. I also enjoy that aspect of it, but just the ability to like learn how to build an audience, build your career out of this space. So more of that.
There's going to be more of that. Steven, you're up.
Yes. Yeah. So I was sitting here thinking about it real hard. And one of the things that I liked a lot about Dragon Con this year, and maybe it's because it was a couple panels I was on, but the creative energy, for one, the digital media Shark Tank was super duper fun.
So much
and
fun.
I love that people feel confident enough to come pitch their ideas and just get feedback. And seeing, like, I want to see those people that pitched this year come back next year with like a live show. Like there was one that just sounded so cool. It was a Tarot Killer.
She was awesome.
She was
They were
so
awesome.
great. They were awesome. Yeah, they were so great. And I really want to see that succeed. So I'm like, get it done and pitch it, and let's see what you can do in a panel. Like those people that you're like, I was them. I was at Dragon Con. I was in the podcasting track going, I wish I would. When we get there, we're going to have made it. You know, like it'll be great. And now, like an email and a few Discord messages later, like I feel like I'm part of this community and contributing like that. And I want that for those people that are kind of on the cusp of something creative or feeling like maybe I could do it next time. So I love the theme of our track is a lot of encouragement, a lot of, yeah, do the thing, you know, that kind of attitude. I want that to keep happening. I want whoever does join, because eventually we're all going to roll out at some point in our future, whether we succeed and fail up or succeed up, whatever. But it'll be good to know that everybody coming in new is continuing that culture of welcoming, bring people in, encouraging feedback, encouraging open communication, making connections, and building that network of other creatives who we can throw stuff at and get ideas. Like I come out of this with so much creative energy and so much desire to make things. So I want to see that again.
So just a quick side question on that. Did you get a lot of like, because one question I always hear and I hate is this good? Or is this a good idea?
We didn't, I don't remember getting any questions like that. They were pretty straightforward. It was, some of them were, let me tell you my idea, and then we just kind of had to pull. A couple of them we had to pull a little bit to get a little bit more out of them. But most of them were pretty fully formed, and they were just looking for next steps.
Yeah. Okay.
And I think that's
because I feel like a lot of people like think they need permission to do something. You know, it's always like, well, I want to do a D&D podcast with my group of friends. Is that a good idea? And it's like, I don't know. Is it?
Yeah.
Do it. Like, don't wait for someone to give you permission to do something. Go and freaking do it. And you'll find out whether it's good or not.
Yeah, that's a lesson that a lot of us have to learn, particularly if you pair the Digital Media Shark Tank with the Imposter Panel, you'd have a pretty solid group of folks.
I'm pretty sure that's just the entirety of digital media.
That's pretty much it. And I think we're open and honest about that, right? Like every one of us will sit with anybody who's sitting in line waiting to get into a panel like that and go, so what are you here for? Oh, you're doing a thing? I'm terrified to go host this. Like I remember Phil went to the tech team in the Imposter panel just to check on stuff for Botched and then for what we were doing. And he was like, oh, Imposter panel in the Crystal Ballroom. That's a big room. How are you feeling about that? We're all terrified because it was true. Like
I like what Tyra put this up, what Kev just said.
Yes, sir. I'm on it. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I want to make.
You don't have to listen to him.
Well, that's true, but
she
I
doesn't
will put
have
it up
to, but she still does.
Yes.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Dude, and we got that message in Digital Shark Tank. It was write the junk, you know, just write your junk and put it out because people buy junk every day, you know, and then that's how you flex that muscle. You're doing reps when you're creating, right? You're like, oh, one, that sucked, two, that sucked a little less, you know, until you get either out of your head about it and you worry less, or you get good. Like, and they kind of go hand in hand to some degree.
It's both. You get good and you worry less because you're getting good.
Right? Yeah. It's a natural smash.
Yeah. Not true. No, she's right. She's right.
No.
Even after 10, only after 10 can you pull your junk out.
Well, that, and even then,
not on Twitch. Yeah. Not on Twitch.
As long as it's consensual.
Not in our panel room is what I'm.
Not in the panel room.
In the privacy of your own hotel room,
go to the spicier side of social media panel to learn all about that, but how to do it safely.
What he said. Jeez,
so
consensual junk.
Sarah, before we completely wash over you, go ahead.
No, that's okay. Just to kind of add on that, like, you know, there's always saying like, I am cringe, but I am free. Like our panel is like a little bit cringe. Like, and it's also kind of a taboo thing, but I think the thing that we realized having this panel and having people talk to us afterwards is like, there were a lot of monster lovers out there. There's a lot. And they like, they were like, this is the kind of content like we were looking for. We wanted something fun like this, something that like maybe doesn't take a super academic look at it. Maybe it's just fun and it's a little cringy, and that's okay.
And it's fine to have fun with it. It's not. It
Yeah.
doesn't hurt anybody to have fun with it.
Mhm.
You know,
I think, yeah, I'd love to see like more sort of fun panels like that too. Like, absolutely, the academic stuff is like wonderful, and I love learning too. But like, I love panels where I get to laugh and be silly, and like laugh along with the host or the moderators or the panels,
Yeah.
and maybe learn a little something too. And I think more of that is great. And I definitely would bring more of like the monster romance digital kind of space to con. I mean, there's a lot of fan fiction writers out there. There's a lot of AO3. You know, I'm sure there's many deep bowels of Reddit that people, you know, might think are a
we
little
don't want
bit
to go.
taboo.
We don't want to go too deep there. Be careful.
You know, in the monster way. And I think, you know, exploring that in like a safe space and with the humor over it's really fun.
There's some spots of the internet we need to remain dark.
That's fair. Yeah. but at least
be
like
honest.
the monster stuff.
Right.
I think it was great to have like an avenue, and great to see people be like, this is what we wanted to see. This is, you know, more than just maybe like the literature track that might just cover books, where we try to cover a much broader net, which I think was great. So I'd love to see some more of kind of those maybe like taboo subjects explored a little bit more, and embracing the cringe, because it's fun.
And I think it's like we have, you know, I think we do a pretty good job of having like kind of the educational academic stuff more earlier in the day. And then kind of as we get on to the evening, it's when we start cutting loose and you know, letting those hinges fly off.
Yeah.
The wheels just fly.
Yep. Somebody take the wheel, and it's not Jesus.
No,
not in our panel.
Some good points made there. So I am excited that I'm going to try to get Nerdy to moderate a panel next year. So I'm not doing the cosplay panel because I don't cosplay. But I had a group of women who I wanted to highlight and talk about their stuff because they're awesome and have built great communities. And so next year I'm going to send her into the dark to do it. I hope next year. I heard a lot of good things about the networking panel that happened on Thursday night. And I think networking is something that we do really, really well in digital, and bring people into the fold and help people find their creative side, and it really help expand that. So I know that Bobby and Rob are interested in making that an even bigger thing next year. And I hope that happens, because that's one of the things I'm excited about.
And I think that was great because it just gave people a space to exist.
Yeah.
And it wasn't, you know, like I wasn't there for the whole time, but like I checked in, you know, and it was just, yeah, we're going to do a quick introduction and then let everybody mingle and give you some icebreakers and stuff like that. And that just lets people exist and be in a space and feel comfortable enough to approach somebody else. Whereas, you know, if you try to do like a party mixer type atmosphere, it's too loud. The music's too loud. It's hard to talk, you know, or if it's some kind of cringy, you know, like bad cringy, not fun cringy, like, you know, speed dating type thing. Which
you don't want to be a creepy singles party. Like, is that what you're?
Yeah,
you don't want that vibe.
As much as I'm a single guy, I don't like the creepy singles party. You know, but just
creepy.
But they were able to just give people that space to network and talk and feel comfortable. And if they had questions, like they were that, you know, just, you know, again, give people that space, let them do what they feel comfortable with.
Yeah.
And that's another good place for us as veterans of the track, is to just look for the person with their hands in their pockets that's afraid to say hello. Like, keep an eye out for that shy one that's like wandering into the room and doesn't really know what they're there for, other than I want to meet people and I don't know how. That's like, for me, that's a magnet. Like, hello, what's your name? What are you doing here? You want to come hang out? Because it's terrifying. Like, it is scary if you're like, I want to get involved with the digital media track, so I'm going to this networking thing, and oh no, look at all these people. What do I do?
Yeah, and it's because you get an idea. You're like, oh, people, you know, it's funny now. that I'm also a vet at this point. And, the first time, I got on a panel, it was a huge deal, and it always is. And, Sarah talked about that earlier. And then after a while you realize, like, not that it's not a big deal, but it's more of like, it's having an idea and networking rather than just, people on panels aren't superheroes outside of like the main con. We're regular people. We just happen to have a passion that we want to share with people. And we're happy to talk about that outside of just being on the panel. We're not on the panel like, oh, kiss my feet or anything like that.
No,
We're like, no, we're the same.
different panel.
We're the same anxious nerd. That's a different After Dark panel. But we're the same anxious nerds that have imposter syndrome as much as anybody else.
This is so true. Smash
Yeah.
is right.
Mhm.
And I still
And
have
this
that
is
problem.
from Smash U, who isn't shy.
I've never seen Smashy afraid to say hi to anyone ever. This is
She
a
usually
surprise to me.
scares people because she's like, "Hi!"
Yeah.
Well, that scared me.
She's just a closet imposter, I guess. We just had no idea.
No, she just aggressively will say, introduce
Aggressive.
herself to you.
She's
I had
doing
aggressive
it.
Ferd.
She's
So she's
Smashy.
got the
You're
courage.
wonderful. I miss you.
Gotta smash it through.
She is
Nice.
not able to be quiet. No.
So I just want to say that where are you? Full run through. There you are. There are monster lovers at Netherworld. Brad, I'm not sure that this is the same thing. So just have a conversation. There's lots of monsters at Netherworld that scare the bejeebers out of this girl.
The Venn diagram sometimes is closer than you think it is. Just saying.
It's probably overlapping, honestly.
I think this is true too. I've always felt like when Dragon Con is just, there's just something about the people for the most part. It's just something different. And I always feel safe. I always feel comfortable. And I only want to slap one or two people, which is really amazing because sometimes in day-to-day life, it's a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
I think my first year I was said, oh, this is home. This is the best place in the world. The first time I went. And I still feel that way.
It's funny to me because I realized this year, I was like, I don't even know if I like Dragon Con. I like I love the people. I love the people that I've gotten to know. Like, I love the people at Dragon Con, but I don't know if I actually like the con itself.
He's gonna
I identify with everything you just said. Yeah.
stay tuned
it's-
for next year.
Yeah, next year the next year I got a fresh piece of paper to figure this out. But the people make it. The people make events, especially like for me, like you can go to a convention and it's cool and there's parties and everything. But like I go to Dragon Con to see all the people that I don't get to see throughout the year. And even some people that I do, I talked about it earlier, like this year, Steven and I finally got to hang out and have actually got to sit down and hang out.
That's
And,
awesome.
I love stuff like that because that's what keeps me coming back.
Well, I've been coming for 35 years. For a very,
So
very
you
long
know.
And she's like, and she says she's not a vet.
Oh, I'm a vet when it comes to Dragon Con for sure. I started coming back in the 1980s, like the second year it happened. And I don't think I've missed one since. I have an eternal membership that gets hung behind my pro badge. And it is home. It is the best people you will ever meet. Our track is wonderful. And I'm going to try not to cry because I'm one of those people. But if you're a geek and you're a nerd and you're having trouble finding your people and your voice, come to Dragon. 75,000 of your closest friends will help you find it.
Join our Discord.
That too. Join our Discord. And by the way, I have a link for that. And maybe that will make me not cry. Check out our link tree at DC Digital Media Track. You can join us on Discord as well as Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. And if you miss some of our panels, except for those after dark, they may actually be on YouTube. I gotta look. I really need to do my job.
Ours
I don't know if
The
that's my job.
panels in 6 were streamed to YouTube, so
Okay.
they should still be
cool.
up there.
It's what he said. He's so smart.
Panels in 7, I think typically they get kept for 2 weeks.
They're there
on,
on Twitch.
Yeah, but
So
they should be getting edited at some point.
The key word there was some point. So if you're an editor looking for some excitement or you need to hone your editing skills, please consider dropping into our Discord and say, I volunteer, because Tyra needs you. So does the track.
If you want to learn video editing, this is going to be the best way to do it
For free.
Yeah. That's up to you.
Find Hissin' and Kissin' podcast there. Go listen to all the things. They're so much fun. Steven, tell them where they can find you because I don't have your stuff and I'm sorry.
Oh, no, that's okay. Yeah, you can find me on the internet at Linktree /SteveH&H. We have links to all my stuff. I have a show I do called Those Were the Days, Monday nights on Twitch at twitch.tv/2dorkstv at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. That show's all about old TV. It's wonderful. I have a blast with TV's Travis, Amy Frost, and Audie Norman. And then on Thursday, Smashy and I have returned to the internet.
Yes.
Horseshoes and Hand Grenades was off the air for a really long time. We have brought it back, but under a new name. It's mostly the same. New name, mostly the same. You can find that at halfhourofpower.com. Every Thursday night at 7 p.m., we're shooting for a half hour of nonsense, chaos, odd news, great stuff. It's an absolute blast. And Smashy's amazing. So that's what I'm doing. Yep.
Tyler?
Smashy sent you cheers. I just dropped the link for you. Full run through, Tyler.
Yep. I am the full run through, if not just full run through, on all social media except the bad website, Twitter. X.
Okay.
We just refer to it as Twitter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Twitter.
Well,
I'm not
if you
calling
listen
it
to the
that.
Apocryphals podcast, they call it the bad website. So I've continued to call it the bad website.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
You can find me on those YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, Instagram. Those are the 4 big ones that I'm on. I'm not on them as often as I would like to be, but Dragon Con has definitely got me back in that mindset of like must produce content. So hopefully that content train is going to take off soon. If my content train doesn't take off soon, hopefully I'll be on here maybe a few more times. Tyra, maybe?
I don't know. Talk to me.
You come
nicely.
back whenever. Yeah, talk to Tyra.
No, you have to talk to me.
Just every
I said
Wednesday.
talk to
I'll
Tyra.
be-
I said
I'll
talk
be
to
on
you.
StreamYard every Wednesday. Whether you put me in or not, I'll be here.
You just drop in. That's it.
And anyone else that might want some podcast guests, I'm available. But no, like in all seriousness, this has been fun. I really do appreciate being on here.
Two dorks, I apologize. I was typing fast.
No worries. I found that out just now myself when I clicked it. We're all good.
I got full run through correct. And I got Hissin correct, but
You crushed it. You crushed it.
I didn't. But anyway. Groove, when are you going to
I just
groove?
copied and pasted mine.
You can find me at Groove is for Life on all the socials, on Twitch. Should be reviving my Twitch stream
Yay.
this weekend, this Sunday, probably. I do music, I do RPGs, and then I'll probably be occasionally on here every so often talking about editing or audio. You can find me in the Discord at Groove is for Life. If you have any audio questions, I'm more than happy to help. Yeah.
Oh, that was, hang on. We had, there, Smashy loves your music. I agree.
We do.
He did my podcast stuff.
Yeah. So, Charles, where's...
I know. Where is he? There he is. What's up, people? Charles, I sent you the link, but whatever.
Oh, look, he shows up now.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. Well, we're way over, but we've had a good party tonight. The one thing I do want to let everybody know, first off, you can find me at tyraburton.com. I'm all over the place. Go find me out. And if you need any branding or marketing help, I am your girl. And that is actually not my link tree because I'm a professional and I sure know what I'm doing. So let's just go back to here. That'll work just fine. And Charles is just being mean in chat, so we're just going to leave that out.
Smashy is not drunk, I promise you.
No.
She's pregnant.
No. Oh, that's congratulations. Anyway.
This is not news. This is not news.
She didn't
Nobody
know.
told me. Okay.
Yeah.
No,
Well,
I actually
now you
did
know.
Okay. Smashy, congratulations from the Digital Media Tracks resident blonde with pink AI. So I'm just here for everybody's amusement. So one last thing before we go. If you want to be a part of Be Awesome Together, because that's what this podcast is. And when Charles couldn't come tonight and I was like, okay, what am I going to do? I've got all these people coming on. I knew that we would be awesome together because somebody would say, hey, I'll jump in. Maybe Scott, because I didn't want to pressure him. And then I already had wonderful guests scheduled to come in and stay 10 or 15 minutes and look at them. They're still here hanging out. If you want to be a part of what I call the lovely chaos of Be Awesome Together, there's a form link that I just dropped into the chat because you can't click it on the screen. And I'll be dropping it in our Discord. And it's an interest form. So if you don't know what you want to do on Be Awesome Together, that's fine. I've got boxes you can tick and then things you can expand. I know, I'm prepared. So if you want to come on and be a panelist, but you don't want to moderate, that's okay. I'll find you a panel. You want to moderate, but you don't have panelists. I'll find you panelists because I'm not afraid to ask people. Just ask Channing Sherman. He knows for
Or
sure.
if you just want to try out an idea, if you've
That's
got an
right.
idea for a podcast that you want to try out and you want to, get some feedback on, this is the perfect place to do it.
Absolutely. Or if you've got an already standing podcast, hint, hint, kissing and hissing, you can come on too. We might have already had a conversation. We can interview you. You can just sit around with Charles and I or whoever else is in the house that night. But we want to make this the conversation that continues between the cons because we are more awesome when we are together. And I'm a marketer. So thank you, sexy people. I love you, Scott, Tyler, Steven, and Sarah. You've been wonderful. Thanks for joining me tonight. Charles, hope you're having a good time in Vegas. Don't lose all our money, okay?
All our money.
No, lose your money, not ours.
Yeah, not ours. We'll be back. Be Awesome Together next Wednesday, 8 o'clock. Who knows what's happening? Because I don't. Fill out my form so I can get something booked. Thanks.
Good night, everybody.
Night, guys. Love
Bye.
everybody.
Bye.
Ending stream. Don't leave me.